hallo, ich bin hier in Heidelberg und habe einen ganz interessanten Mann hier aus Amerika. Und zwar ist es David Silverman. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Very well, Ramona.
Yeah, did you have a nice trip?
I did. I'm having a wonderful time. I've gotten the grand tour of Heidelberg yesterday and today, and I'm really enjoying myself.
Okay, so at first, your name is David Silverman. You are the president of the American Atheists.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You're married.
Yep.
You have a daughter, and you have Jewish background.
Yes.
Now, the first thing what would interest me is, did you have a coming out?
Not really. I've been an atheist since I was extremely young, 6 years old. I was raised Jewish. I had to go to Hebrew school, had to do all that stuff, but I have never believed in God. And I remember the moment that I stopped believing in God. I remember it very clearly. I stopped believing in God, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and Santa Claus all at once.
Okay.
One shot. And I told my mother. I was never in the closet.
Okay.
I told my mother right there and then. And she told me that I had to ask my rabbi and my Hebrew school teacher. And of course, my mother was religious. She was Jewish. She was not Orthodox, but she was Reformed, and she was very, very strong in the feeling that she had to raise a Jewish boy.
Okay.
So I had to keep going to Hebrew school. I had to keep going to my bar mitzvah, and I did go, and I asked all the questions. And every question I asked brought me farther away from religion.
Yeah.
Every answer, well, you just have to have faith. Well, mysterious ways. Oh, you're just a human. You can't possibly understand why the all-powerful ruler of the universe would want children to be born with leukemia. So every answer that I got pushed me away. And my mother didn't care, right? My mother didn't care. So I had to be bar mitzvahed anyways. And my mother gave me very specific, strict instructions. I had to do the bar mitzvah, and I had to do it perfectly.
Okay.
And I did. I went up there, and I did a perfect bar mitzvah. And I remember it so vividly because, the bar mitzvah is supposed to be this important time in a Jewish boy's life. It's supposed to be a pivotal event.
It's a ritual thing. It's a thing every Jewish person, a boy, has to do, right?
Yeah, it's like a confirmation. It's a coming of age thing. It's like, the Christians have confirmation. I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So I went up and I did my bar mitzvah, and in the audience of the bar mitzvah was my entire universe.
Yeah.
All my friends, my entire family, my extended family, and all the friends of my family.
Okay.
Everybody was in the universe. And I lied.
Yeah.
I lied to all of them. Let us declare the greatness of our God and render honor unto the Torah, which God gave through Moses as a heritage of the congregation of Jacob. I got the whole thing memorized.
How did you feel lying?
I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it, and they came up to me afterwards, and they told me what a good boy I was, what a good Jew I was.
Yeah.
They gave me presents. They patted me on the back.
Oh my goodness.
And I was, thanks for all the stuff, but I lied.
Yeah.
And I lied about everything.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that people lie from the stage in temple. That was the first thing that I learned from my bar mitzvah. The number one thing is that just because they're on the stage saying it doesn't mean they're actually telling the truth.
Right.
Then there was more, because there was a confirmation after that. Now, your viewers who know Judaism will know that there is no confirmation in Judaism.
Right.
There's bar mitzvah, and that's it.
Okay.
Unless your temple wants money.
Oh.
If your temple wants money, they create a fictional event called confirmation. And confirmation means after you get bar mitzvah, I am not making this stuff up, okay? Confirmation means after you get your bar mitzvah, you go back to Hebrew school for 2 more years. 2 years, twice a week, for 2 hours a day. 2. 2 hours a day, twice a week for 2 more years, and then you get to go back up on stage and get your confirmation certificate.
Okay.
Ooh, right?
Yeah.
Very big, important, right? So all my mother's friends' children were all going to confirmation, so I had to.
Yeah.
But there was a problem. The problem was that I went away to live at high school. I went to a prep school, 200 miles away. Sorry, Mom. Big sad, right? I cannot go to Hebrew school.
Yeah.
I'm so bummed about that.
Yeah.
Well, no, because you see, if the temple wants money, you can still make it happen.
Yeah.
So my mother paid for my classes anyway.
Oh my goodness.
And the temple said that I had to do a final project which would compensate for 2 hours a day, twice a week for 2 years. 2 hours a day, twice a week for 2 years is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
Okay? So for 1.99999 years, I thought not at all about this project. My mother was paying for classes. I wasn't going. I was at school, not caring at all, because I was an atheist.
Right.
Comes time to turn it in, I have nothing. So I took a piece of copier paper.
Okay.
Now, Ramona, I want you to understand something. I'm all about being true to thyself, okay? To thine own self be true. I have a lot of talents. None of my talents are artistic.
Okay.
I'm not an artistic person at all. I cannot draw. But I did for this.
Yeah.
I took a piece of copier paper and I drew a circle.
Yeah.
Ramona, I drew a circle. I colored it in blue and white. I drew a hand holding up the circle.
Yeah.
It looked like a 5-year-old had done it. I maybe spent 15 minutes on the whole thing. I folded it up, called it my final project, and sent it to Temple.
Yeah.
And they accepted it without hesitation.
Yeah.
Because they'd already gotten what they wanted, their money.
Right.
So I went back to Temple.
Yeah.
To get my confirmation certificate. And I went up on stage. I didn't even make it to rehearsal.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't even make it to rehearsal. I went to confirmation, and because I didn't make it to rehearsal, my friend who was behind me in line, she was left, right. She was telling me what to do.
Yeah.
That was so I got up, I got my certificate, and I went back down and I sat down. And of course, when you're a kid and when you graduate high school or college or whatever, you sit down, you got your diploma, the first thing you do is open it up, right?
Right.
So I opened up mine, and my friend who'd been behind me sat down next to me, and she opened up hers. We did the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that religion is a scam.
Right. And is that the reason why you became an activist, really?
No. That's way later.
Okay.
That's way later. That's way later.
So when did you...
But I wanted to make sure that you
Yeah.
understood that this is how the Jewish religion, this is how the Jewish indoctrination affected me.
Yeah.
I learned it was a lie.
Yeah.
Then I learned it was a scam. And then I dropped it completely and never touched it again.
Yeah.
Except when I went to college.
Okay.
I happened to make a lot of friends with a lot of Orthodox Jews.
Okay.
And that's when I started to learn about Judaism.
Yeah.
Really in depth of what it was like to be Jewish and how thick the scam goes and how deep that indoctrination goes, how horrible it is.
Yeah.
I got a really good appreciation of that from college. And then years later, well, I will tell you that one of the people that I debated in college, we had those, lunchtime debates. One of those Orthodox Jews is now my wife.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
And we've been married for 23 years.
Yeah.
Okay. She's not Orthodox anymore. She was Reformed before we got married. But this is how I made friends with these folks, even though
Yeah.
they were completely wrong and brainwashed.
Yeah.
And years and years later, I'm married and settled and things are going fine. And there was this Christian cult called the Promise Keepers.
Okay.
The Promise Keepers had a very horrible message. Their idea was that men needed to go back to their wives and apologize to their wives for allowing them to be equal. Because God didn't want them to be equal.
Right.
They were doing a sin by allowing their wives to be equal. So they were supposed to go back to their wives and say, honey, I'm sorry that you're equal. I'm not going to make you be equal anymore. Now you get to be beneath me.
Yes.
Isn't that great?
Yes, and
the
she
wives,
should be
the
happy
wives are
about
supposed to be
this.
happy about this, right?
Yeah.
So I would. Is that right?
No, but go on. I have another. It's going on.
Oh, okay. So I went to this protest organized by this organization called American Atheists. I'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And I went from the protest to the demonstration, this big Promise Keepers demonstration. I listened to them. And I got red with anger.
Yeah.
Red with anger at the hundreds of thousands of men who were being made to victimize their own wives and their own family. And they're doing it in the name of a God, in the name of love.
Yeah.
You get to be second class because I love you.
Yeah.
This is what they were saying. They were anti-women, they were anti-Jew, they were anti-atheist, they were anti-anybody not them. Oh, guess what? Just like every other religion, right? So I came back to the line, to the protest line, and CNN was there.
Okay.
And CNN put the camera on me. And they went like this. The cameraman went like this. And I shouted something. I don't remember what I said. It didn't air. But I do remember it was great. Great. Really smooth, eloquent. I don't remember what I said, but I remember being really happy with myself after I said it. Right? And there were other people in the line, they heard me.
Yeah.
And they liked it too. I wish I had what I said, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So they liked what I said, so it wasn't too long after that I became an activist.
Yeah.
And they called me later and asked me to become state director.
Yeah.
And I was state director for many years. And that's how I got into activism. It was the anger off of the scam, off of the lie.
Yeah.
That really piled on and made me a very passionate person for human rights. Passionate person for equality. More importantly, a passionate person for truth, and honesty, integrity. The stuff that religion claims but doesn't do.
The first time I got notice of you was YouTube watching. Oh, who is this? Billboard. What is this? I said, what is this? And I was looking. And since then, I have a nickname for you. You're the Billboard Man.
I'm the Billboard Man?
Yes. So why don't you tell our viewers about the billboards? Why you do this and why this is important? And
so, billboards have been a pretty good tool for me since I became the president of American Atheists. The idea is there's this concept in business called the Overton window. The Overton window is a window of things that you can talk about that are mainstream. Yeah. Okay? And if you're outside the Overton window, you're not in the mainstream.
Right.
Okay? But that doesn't mean the Overton window can't be shifted.
Right.
The window can be shifted. Okay? And it is shifted by going out to that extreme and pulling it.
Right.
Okay? So in 2010, nobody was criticizing religion. Nobody was telling the truth about religion. Everybody was saying, I disagree. Our way is better. Nobody is saying, your way is wrong.
Right.
Nobody is saying your way is wrong. And that's a problem because when you don't say your way is wrong, my way is right.
Right.
You make your way equal to their way.
Right.
If you look, you go on YouTube, you see all the debates with me and religions. You'll never see a Christian versus a Jew.
Right.
Because that's not the way they do it. There is no evidence, there is no support, there's just my way and your way. Well, your truth says this, and your truth says this.
Right.
That's crap.
Right.
You've got to tell people they're wrong and make them defend it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you lower yourself to them. It's just our way versus your way.
Right.
But it's not our way versus your way. Atheism is not equal to religion.
No, it is.
It's like saying reality is equal to fiction, which actually is saying reality is equal to fiction.
Right.
So it needed to be pushed. That window needed to be shifted. So I put up the first billboard, which I thought was such a hard billboard at the time. It was the first time that anybody actually called religion a myth on a billboard in a big way.
Don't worry, it's a myth?
You know it's a myth.
Oh, you know
it's a myth.
Yeah.
You know it's a myth. And the billboard was on the air in the national news in 9 different countries.
Okay.
That's a shift. Okay? Now, look at it now. If I call religion a myth now, I called religion a myth, then I called religion a scam.
Okay.
Then I called religion nonsense.
Yeah.
Then I called, so each time I'm pushing harder and harder and harder. Now, if I call religion a myth again, nobody will care.
Right.
Because the Overton window has been shifted.
Right.
Now, calling religion a myth is inside that window.
Right.
It's not news anymore. It's not special. It's not different. It's been done.
Okay.
Ho hum.
Yeah.
So now, religion is a myth is inside the Overton window. Religion is a scam is inside the Overton window. People can talk about it now and it doesn't cause news.
Yeah, and those billboards, they have billboards as well over atheists, right?
I'm sorry?
The Christians, they put their billboards up.
Oh, there's nothing better.
And they do against atheists or things like that.
All the time.
So this would be like an answer from, you know.
Yeah, but I don't want that. I don't want.
Okay.
That's not an answer. What I want is them to answer me.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not going to put up a billboard. If they say Jesus is Lord, I'm not going to say no, it isn't. It's not my point. Because if I do that, what am I doing? I'm making news for them.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. I'm not doing that. But when I put up, it's a myth, they put up a counter billboard. They counter me. They counter us.
Yeah.
And that makes news for us.
That's right, yeah.
Okay? That makes news for us in our name. Look at them, look at us. The best thing that the Christian groups can do is put up a counter billboard to us.
Yeah.
That makes us news. Remember, the target market for my billboard, for our billboards, all our billboards, is never the people driving by and looking at the billboards.
Yeah.
It's never that. The target market for billboards is the press.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I care about. Press.
It
press,
brought you.
press.
It brought you to Fox News.
Everywhere.
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 Right. Yeah.
It's all about the press.
It's
all about the press. When I put up, it's a myth. Well, look at the return on the investment here. When I put up, it's a myth. It cost American atheists $25,000.
Yeah.
The same month, a humanist organization put out the first humanist national television ad. Okay? It was a television commercial, prime time, nationwide. But if I asked you or any of your viewers who did that, nobody would know. Nobody would remember. Nobody would know it happened.
Yeah.
They spent $250,000 on that commercial.
Right, yeah.
Nobody saw it. I spent $25,000 on a billboard, and I went around the world.
Yeah.
I went around the world. It was all over the country. Saturday Night Live talked about it. It went into the psyche of America.
Yeah.
It was huge. Because it shifted the Overton window, because it was outside the window, because it used language that everybody understands,
Right.
and because it said something that everybody knows, but nobody was saying.
Right. The most thing I like the thing I like the most is when you talk to atheists. They're still in the closet, because that's true. In America, I think it is really true because I know that there's still a lot of like the Bible Belt, a lot of Christian countries, and when that you don't, you have a feeling I can't tell anybody that I'm an atheist because it's bad for you.
And this is what we're trying to fight.
Right.
This is what we're trying to fight. We're in fighting God, I talk about the polls, and polls are a big problem.
Yeah.
Polls are a big problem, and the reason polls are a big problem is because most atheists are in the closet.
Right.
Okay, if you look at if you go out on the street and you ask Methodist or a Presbyterian or even a Catholic what religion they are, they'll say Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So if you look at the polls, you see that America, the United States, is 70% Christian.
Yeah.
And if you ask the atheists, some will say atheists, but most will not. Most will say agnostic, secular, none, or even worse, Christian, Muslim, and Jew.
Yeah.
Okay, half the Jews in America are atheists. Half the people who call themselves Jews. So what we have is we should have somewhere around 30% in America atheist.
Yeah.
30%. And that's 70% Christian?
Yeah.
Closer to 50%. Okay? Closer to 50, maybe 55%. We don't have firm numbers because people lie.
Yeah.
A lot of it is inference, a lot of it is assumption. But my point is this. Somewhere around 90% of the atheists in America don't call themselves atheists.
Right.
So we say, so the polls say, America is 70% Christian and 3% atheist.
Right, yeah.
All of a sudden we're tiny. And now if you're a closeted atheist, you're only 3%. you don't have enough backing. You don't have any support.
Yeah.
You're alone.
We have that.
But if just think about what would happen if just people tell the truth.
Right.
Okay. If the atheists who are atheists would just say the word atheist. So this is why I talk to the closeted atheists. People accuse me. It's not a bad accusation of trying to recruit Christians and Jews and convert them.
Yeah.
Yes, I want that to happen.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm doing.
No.
Everything that I'm doing is about the 90% of atheists who don't call themselves atheists.
Right.
Because if we can, that's such a small move. I don't have to convert them. I don't have to change their mind.
Just
all I
be
have to do
honest.
is educate themselves as to what the definition is. Yes, you are, in fact, an atheist.
Yeah, right.
And if they own it, just think about what that will do to our polls.
Yeah.
Just think about what that will do to our country and how fast it will change.
Right.
I don't have to convert anybody's belief in God. All I have to do is raise the awareness of the definition of the word.
Yeah.
And we change the country that way.
Yeah, we have in Germany, it's almost the same, you know. A lot of people say I'm an agnostic, I'm an anti-theist and things, because but it's a different reason, right? They want to say it the right way, you know, like, okay, you cannot prove that there is no God.
Correct.
So you better say, well, I'm an agnostic.
And I hate
this
that.
This is so stupid.
It is.
You know, I have been saying that for years as well. And then I said, no, I am an atheist.
Right.
Finished.
You know what?
I don't
can't,
care. You know?
I can't prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that Santa Claus isn't up at the North
Right.
Pole. That doesn't mean I'm agnostic about Santa Claus.
Right.
When Santa Claus lands on my roof, I'll change my worldview.
Right.
But until then, fiction is fiction. And remember, atheist is not a statement of definite of positivity.
Yeah.
It's not. It's an absence of a belief.
Right.
It's an absence of a theism. So if you're on the fence, you're an atheist.
Right.
You don't have a belief. If you think there may be a God, but you're not quite sure, you're an atheist because you don't have a belief in a God.
I mean, and everybody is an atheist because if one religion doesn't believe in the God from the other religion.
Well, they're atheists regarding to other religions. Yeah.
Then you're atheist too, in a way, you know.
Usually correctly though, they're not atheists.
Yeah.
They're atheists regarding other religions.
Right.
Okay, they don't believe in those gods.
Yeah.
And we just believe in one more God than they do.
Yes.
We just disbelieve in one more God than they do.
Okay, so this is with the billboards.
Mm-hmm.
Now your TV. Mm-hmm. How's it doing?
Which TV?
You did a secular TV.
Atheist TV.
Atheist TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Atheist TV is available on Roku nationwide, and we're going to be expanding onto the Kindle Fire platform very soon. Okay. It's basically there to make sure that people in their houses can see atheist-related programming anytime they want to.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not there to be a full-fledged television network. Yeah. It is there to be yet another vehicle for people to watch television inside their homes.
Yeah.
And people to learn about atheism inside their homes. So everything is up there that we can find. We just put it all up. And I'm very proud of it. You know, it's something that came out of a discussion at a pajama party at an atheist convention.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to make it a reality. I'm really happy with it.
Yes, and the atheist convention. When is the next one in June?
Well, the next atheist convention, all eyes are to Reason Rally 2.
Okay.
Everything is about Reason Rally 2 right now.
Okay.
Reason Rally 1, I was privileged to run back in 2012.
Yeah.
I was actually privileged to create it and run it back then, and it's going to happen again. We had 30,000 atheists in Washington, D.C. in the rain. It was, as far as we can tell, it was the largest atheist event in world history.
Was that the one where it was raining?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the rain.
In the rain.
30,000 people in the rain.
And Richard was there too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Richard was one of the first supporters of the Reason Rally.
Right.
And he will be at Reason Rally 2.
Yes.
Which is on June 4th, 2016 in Washington, D.C. It's going to be bigger.
Oh, I wish I could be there.
You can come. Just tell Richard I said it's okay.
Okay.
No, tell Richard I said it's okay for him to pay for it.
Oh, good.
Okay?
I will tell him.
He'll appreciate that.
Okay.
Sorry, Richard. But it's going to be bigger. It's going to be longer. We're going to have a few days to play with. We're going to have a Reason Rally convention. We're going to have a Reason Rally event. We're going to have a Reason Rally dinner with the stars. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. Yeah. As Donald Trump would say, it's going to be huge. Huge.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be the most classy atheist event in world history. We're planning to make it, again, the largest atheist event in world history.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody comes June 4th, Washington, D.C. Everybody comes to the Reason Rally.
Yeah, right.
So American Atheists is not having a national convention in 2016. I know a lot of atheist organizations in America are canceling their events in 2016. Everybody is going to the Reason Rally.
This is so cool. This is so cool. Yeah, I wish we would have something like that in Germany as well. I think it will take a little longer before we have this atheist community here.
No, it's got to start somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
It's got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So you wrote a book.
I did.
Yes, and that's the reason why you're actually here in Heidelberg, right?
Yes.
What is it all about?
So it's an atheist manifesto.
Oh, you don't have one here, right?
I don't.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
It's coming out on December 1st.
Okay.
And so this book is a product of 3 years of work.
Okay.
The Reason Rally comes and goes, and somebody comes to me, a small press publisher comes to me and says, I want you to write a book, and I'll publish it. And I said, sure. Nobody ever asked me to write a book before. So I wrote a book, and it was 50% hardline atheism and 50% David Silverman.
Okay.
And the book was done. But then the publisher and I parted ways. We had a disagreement, we parted ways, and it was over.
Okay.
Then I had a book and no publisher. So I obtained the email address for Barack Obama's agent. Okay, Barack Obama, President Obama, has published 2 books. He has a literary agent. I got her address.
Okay.
I emailed her. She knew who I was.
Okay.
She signed me right away.
Cool.
She put together an initial treatment for the book. She sent it out to her top line of people. One of those people was an editor at Macmillan, which is one of the largest publishers in the world. He was a fan of mine.
Okay.
He signed me right away. And so now he handed me this contract, virtually. They handed me this contract and said, we're changing the title, we're changing the cover, and we're cutting everything about you.
Okay.
Half the book. And you have to fill in the rest with more hardline atheism, and you have 6 months. Go.
Ooh.
So, I took the contract.
Yeah.
And I cut everything about me out of that book. Almost everything about me is out of that book. And I had to fill it in. Well, what am I going to fill in? Remember, this is a finished book. I was already done talking.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Well, what I did was add meat. I added meat. I added data. I added research. I added references. I added multiple sources. I have quantitative, independent data from multiple sources, independent sources, all through the book.
Yeah.
And what I have now is a statement, is a book that's about the efficacy and the ethics of firebrand atheism. Not only is firebrand atheism effective, it is more effective than the nice guy approach. It is more effective than the accommodationistic approach, and it is the nicer thing to do than humanism. Being a firebrand atheist is nicer than being a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I can prove it.
Okay.
And I can prove it in the book.
Good.
And I have multiple sources of independent quantitative data that I can use to push my agenda, to support my agenda. And in the name of good skepticism, I tried to prove myself wrong.
Okay.
And I failed.
Okay.
Okay? That's good skepticism. That's what you're supposed to do. So what Fighting God is now is a backup, a supporting tool for those who are in the closet and for those who are trying to come out. It is a statement that it is support for the idea that saying, no, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
It's not my truth versus your truth. It's you're just wrong. Here's my proof. That is the nice thing to do. That's the good thing to do. That's what a friend does.
Yeah,
okay?
right.
If you've got a poison in your mind,
Yeah.
Now, Christopher Hitchens said it correctly. Religion is a poison, okay? If you've got poison, it's my job as a nice person, as a humanist, to take the poison from you.
Of course, yeah.
Okay? If you're sitting there dying of poison and I'm saying, oh, well, that's your truth. My truth is no poison. Well,
Right.
you're going to die, or you're going to get sick,
Yeah.
or you're going to spend your money on a con and a scam.
Yeah.
Religion has no more place in society than tarot cards and astrologers.
Right.
They have the exact same amount of proof, the exact same amount of evidence. The only difference between religion and astrology is that it takes more money and runs more government.
Right.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And it is standing in the way of us as individuals, us as families, us as countries, and us as a race.
Yeah.
And it is our job as humans to kill it.
Yeah.
Kill it, and kill it dead. It's,
Yes. Yeah.
And I know it's a funny thing to say, Ramona, but it's
Yeah.
really not funny.
I know.
Because this is something that we really have to deal with. We really have to internalize the fact that religion is a pox. It is a scum.
Yeah.
It is something that we ethically need to stamp out. We ethically need to shut that shit down because it hurts everybody on the planet, including
Yeah.
us.
Right.
It includes non-believers. Religion hurts everybody, including us.
Right.
And if we allow it, and why do we allow it? We allow it because religion tells us to.
Yeah.
We put religion on this pedestal because religion demands that we put religion on this pedestal. It has no more proof than any
Yeah.
other scam, any other con, but we put it on a pedestal.
Right.
Oh, no. Your religious beliefs are your view. That's your truth. That's
Yes.
your... No.
And we respect. We have so much.
So much respect for your religious beliefs.
Right.
No,
I
have
don't.
no need for any respect
Yeah.
for any religion any more than we would respect any other con.
I always explain it like respect something. It's like it's when you do something real good, then I have respect. You know, when you do something real good,
Yeah.
then this is respect for me. But
If you're just
I don't
lying
think
for
it's
money,
not, I don't think
if
it's
you're
good.
if
You
you're-
know,
if
so
you're
I don't
li-
respect it.
If you're lying for money and demanding
Yeah.
respect for it, no.
Yeah.
And it's time that we, as a society, stood up and said, no. Actually, there is no man behind the curtain. Actually, your myth is just a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Your God is fake. It's not different. It's not special. It's not honorable. It's shit.
Yeah.
And we deserve to treat, and religion deserves to be treated like shit.
Yeah.
If flushed down the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What else was it? Yeah, that was your book, and
So the book is on sale on pre-order now on Amazon. And there's one more thing that I'd like to talk about with regard to the book before we get off the subject.
okay.
It is the first time in American history that a career atheist has been published by the major publishers.
Yeah.
Okay? So like Richard has been published, but he's a scientist.
You're right.
Okay, Daniel Dennett is a philosopher.
Yeah.
Sam Harris is a neuroscientist.
Yeah, right.
This is the first time that an atheist, and
Yeah.
just an atheist, has been published by the major press. Okay?
Yeah.
Religion News Service is carrying the story.
Okay.
We need to affect the Nielsen's, affect the ratings of the book
Yeah.
for Religion News Service. If it comes out and it's on a bestseller list and it's on a good list, Religion News Service will write about it, and guess what? It'll make it easier for the next career atheist to be published by major press. So the book should, I hope, affect the Nielsen's. So what I'm asking everybody to do is to pre-order the book.
Okay.
Pre-order the book if you can. If this goes online before December 1st, please pre-order the book. The book comes out December 1st. Please pre-order it.
Okay.
Because that way it will affect the Nielsen's, and that will affect the story, and that will affect the publishers.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the point I'd like to make. So
Yeah.
yes, I want everybody to buy the book, but I want everybody to pre-order the book more
Yeah.
because there's an activist component to that
Yeah.
purchase.
Right. Yeah. So do you have the billboard? You have a new?
There will be a war on Christmas in 2016.
Okay. Super. David, thank you very much for this interview. It was so fabulous.
I'm glad you
meeting
enjoyed it, Ramona. Thank you so
Yes.
much for your time.
Right.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
All right, bye-bye. It deserves no pity. It deserves no mercy. Religion deserves to die. And I hope you will all join me in killing it. Thank you very much.